Hi, good morning, everybody. We're going live. Come on in. We'll start proper in 5 minutes. We'll start at 12 noon Eastern sharp. So come on in, just hang out, and let's just have fun on a Sunday. And just, well, have a casual chat and just figure things out together. Life, the charts, your burning questions. Just keep it casual. It's a Sunday. Not forgetting to honor God and yourself and each other by spending time each other, praying for each other, and then encourage each other before we prepare for the week ahead. Go back to battle. Go back to making some money to feed your family, feed your purpose, feed the people you have to take care of. So spend some time today. Let's rest, recalibrate, but yet, warm up our brains a little. Review the week and get ready. So we'll start in another 3 minutes. Some housekeeping and live analysis here. This tab, right? Just hover through. You should see two tabs here, right? So Q&A live stream, that's important. Right, otherwise, there's a link right here. Just click on SPY Trade Analysis. Click on this link. Right, you have a Q&A. Will come in to be useful later. I will be having a Q&A if we do have time. Right, so take it easy today, all right? Nothing too intense. And it's a good start to prepare for the week, right? It's a good time to do that on a Sunday. And, we'll keep it updated on some matters, what to be preparing ahead for. So keep it coming to chat here in the Q&A live stream if you have more Q&A here for members. I may not be paying too much attention to the YouTube chat, so I apologize. I tried to catch up, but I'm bad at this. I'm still not good at this. I don't think I will pick it up as quickly as some of you more talented or even younger folks. So I beg your pardon. So it's better if you are a member of the Discord. Just right, there's a thread here for Q&A live streams here. So I keep tabs here as well, right? So if there are questions from previous live streams that I can then address too, I certainly will do that. Right, 1 more minute and we'll start proper. So come on in, streaming right in. You'll probably realize this is a new channel, so I will address that too shortly. But I want to get to the important things first. It's always more important to, get the work out of the way. Right, it's noon. So good afternoon to most of you. Let's get this started. Right, so welcome. Just a casual day today, right? So let's quickly get to business. Want to cover a few things today. So let's see. Want to cover some training. Right, so I want to do some training on the charts. Just to keep you at your edge, right? To understand some of the technical nuances that you may have missed, right? To keep you sharpened. So that's what I want to do, even though it's a casual light analysis day, right? I want you to prep for the week ahead, right? We'll probably have some story time and Q&A if we have time, right? And housekeeping as well, right? So housekeeping and announcements, right? So we'll get to that today. So let's just take a look at the charts for the week. Now, I want to specifically just talk about Friday, right? So Friday was a very special day because the entire market was waiting for some news from the Supreme Court that didn't materialize. Now, when you open a chart here, very importantly at the start of the day, you have to firstly look at your 30-minute chart, right? That's the most important. I will talk a little bit about that as a preparation for the week ahead, but also as the market starts to move. This is something that you as a newer trader, you may not spend time to pay attention to. You need to understand the range of the movement of the charts. Right. So, for example, this is why you have the grids on your charts. Can you see the grids here? Right. These are important, right? Because you understand that this to this is 1 point. This is 1 point here. So, well, you see, I'm using TradingView. Right. It's a very common chart visualization program. And if you expand it a little, right, you notice that per grid is about half a point here. Well, obviously, if you scale it accordingly, right, sometimes you have one grid 0.2 points. Now, you notice that, right? So this is important. You need to know your ranges. So every one of us views the charts differently. There's no one fixed way of viewing the chart. Some of you like it especially zoomed out like that, right? It serves its purpose, yes, obviously, right? You got to know what purpose it's trying to serve. So in this case, one grid is 1 point here. But some of you look at the chart and you do not even pay attention to the movement of the charts, right? So for example here, this is 1 point, and you notice that right in the morning we were just chopping at 1 point. So there isn't much you should be trying to do. You should allow the market to build liquidity, right? So if you're not practicing this, if you're not having a sense or understanding of how much the chart is moving, you need to start paying attention, especially right at the start of the day. When you do this, especially if you're trading options, because the movement of the chart is correlated to your price of the options and obviously your risk to rewards. So this is important. You need to do that, right? Get a habit of doing that, understanding your ranges, have a sensing of the range of how the market moves. So this is correlated to your 30-minute chart too, right? Because understanding the movement within the algorithms in the 30-minute chart will help you understand the ranges a little better. But you notice, right, 30-minute, this is nothing new, right? And you see how penny perfect the orange is, right? Just take a look. It's penny perfect. So there's nothing, right? Friday, there's no reason to short after 10 a.m. I want to explain about the 10 a.m. candles here. Now, when you understand ranges, and by the way, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 5-day was actually like that. If I'm not mistaken, right? We retested 5-day quite perfectly before we bounce back up. So you see the script I'm using resets itself because it's taking live data to start its calculation. So I'm sure this can be done better. I will look into it. All right, we had some red candles because the market was de-risking from the lack of news. right? So there was an announcement that there will be no announcement, right? Get the irony. So the market was waiting for an announcement, and the announcement was that there was no announcement. So therefore, you see people de-risking, but yet they all are attracted to the orders in your 5-day moving average, which brought it back up here. So this is what I mean. If you do not have any structure, then absolutely no trade. Well, obviously, you could have caught that trade too, right? Because there are strong red candles. Yeah. And by then, I think we have already identified the magenta algorithm here, together with the orange. The orange was quite beautiful, right? Penny perfect, it's beautiful, right? So once it broke out in high volume, right, you could have seen a beautiful trade right here. Absolutely possible. And once it didn't materialize here, once it broke out of that green. Now, if you were watching me charting live on Friday, I added this. Very important. You notice this. If you were charting the precision algorithm, you probably chart it like that, right? But I added this center band here, which is what you see the intensity of the selling is actually strengthened right here. And we had a retracement of their 5-day moving average, if I remember right. So once it broke out of this green, I would have cut all my shorts, or at least more than 50% of it, because the strength is just not strong enough after, especially a news catalyst. Because if the news of a lack of announcement is to dump the market, especially of their 5-day moving average, you would see precision algorithms leading the way. Now remember, for that morning brief that I had with you on Friday morning before market open, I mentioned if the news is going to run the market on that day, especially if it's going to lead into a trend day, the precision algorithms will always the one leading the way. So you have to remember, and this is why I charted a center band right here for you to de-risk if the market doesn't start selling strong enough. So you understand that, right? And this is exactly what you see. Now, you will notice that this is a 1-point trade. You have to understand this, and if you watch me almost every day as I trade in the Discord server, right? If you watch me enough, you will notice that a 1-point trade, or even half a point trade, from half a point to 1-point trade, it's more than enough for you to make good profits, adequate profits. If you're not making enough at this point, you have to start scaling up incrementally, of course, or you have to spend less money as a human being. So it goes both ways, your input and your output, right? Trust me, you will trade better if you keep your expenses low. When you do that, you have less baggages in your life. You have less needs and wants. You have no need for that greed to manifest in your life. And trust me, you will make more money, because the essence of accumulation, right? Because you remember what we're doing here, we're trying to accumulate wealth. The essence of accumulation is when you are actually spending less money. It motivates you to make more money in that case, because what you are making, you're not using it to spend. You see the psychology behind it. Now I understand, because I came from a point in my life whereby I made this amount of money, right? So maybe I made 6,000 for that month. Okay. And I had to pay maybe 5,700 all in expenses and debt, leaving me with almost nothing. most of us, probably I would say a big part, more than 50% of us are living like that, paycheck to paycheck. Some of you are even worse because say you have a $5,000 salary, you're actually breaking it down and you're actually taking payday loans, right? Or you're deconstructing your money into debt. So you're actually only paying the interest of what you owe and not the principal. So you're always behind in life. You have to manage that. You have to eradicate that first before you think about accumulating wealth. Now, remember, I had a live stream a couple of weeks ago, I think, talking about how you can accumulate wealth. And this is one of the ways you do it. So instead of becoming the person that is a victim of your payday loans or having your debt deconstructed, be the one that's enjoying this, right? So in order to do that, you need to reduce your liabilities and have assets for you to do that. So at the start, right, as we start the new year, I implore you, keep your expenses low. There is this threshold that well, I like to see things in the spectrum, yeah. So there is this threshold where this is known as your middle class. This is the toughest place to be because you have needs, you have expectations, you have wants that you are able to achieve with some help, such as debt, right? So you incur debt in order to attain some wants and needs. So you allow yourself to do that, right? Obviously, we have I would mention the rich and wealthy here above the middle class, obviously, and right, there's poverty here, right? Some of you need to return to poverty because middle class allows you to qualify for debt, but if it comes to a point you cannot even qualify for debt. In fact, you may even return back to the basics and live to a point that you do not ingratiate your wants, and you only survive with what you need. But the economy don't allow you to do that. The economy wants to qualify you easily, and that's why you can even have things like payday loans. You're basically selling your life away. You realize that it's modern day slavery. You just have to be very careful with that, and sometimes if it means to cut away, it's necessary. You have to do that. I try to keep what I study in the Bible out of the trading live stream, but I just want to bring this up because the Bible didn't mention this, that if your eyes are causing you to sin, right, you take it out, you gouge it out, and you realize the significance of that, right? Sometimes you just have to do that, and you lock it in, especially at the start of the year. Lock it in, and trust me, you will turn your life around if you learn to trim, learn to amputate and cut away what's truly destroying you. But that takes time. It's not an instant decision. It's not something that you can decide overnight. Some of you, it takes years because you have allowed baggage to entangle you in your life. And sometimes it takes years in order for you to truly untangle yourself. But that's what I hope for all of you. That sometimes you just have to be back to basics. Truly come to a point where you have no other choice. And when you're backed off in the corner, you only have one way to go forward, and that's to fight your way out of it. That's just human psychology, and the world is programmed in that way to prevent you from being backed to a corner and building a fight in you. You realize that the creature comforts in this world keeps you occupied, keeps you happy enough so you don't fight, right? Keeps you intoxicated, it keeps you sedated. That's the danger of the world that we live in today. So for you, you know better, right? You absolutely know better what it needs, what it takes. So at the start of the year, it's a very stark reminder for you again that if you are still stuck in your creature comforts, if you are still stuck in your cycle of debt, nothing's going to change. No matter what I say here, no matter what traits you take, nothing's going to change because the root is still rotten. It doesn't matter how we grow the tree if the roots are rotten. So you've got to figure it out. Start of the year, remind yourself constantly, and I will remind you every day, every week. I will constantly remind you because your success is quite important to yourself, to me, to everyone around you. These are hard truths that are very difficult to swallow. And not everyone can give you such advice because they probably have not been through that. They don't understand how it feels. There are kids out there running YouTube channels who don't understand how it feels to live paycheck to paycheck. They don't understand the economic construct that is meant to enslave you. So you have to be aware of that and know how to get yourself out of it. And if you're a young person, understand that there is so much more to your financial success, many layers to that. So you've got to navigate yourself out of the layers by first understanding that the existence of many layers in your life. You're probably only here. When you understand that it is this complex, you're ready to deal with one layer after another, right? But it all starts having a strong foundation, because if you have a strong foundation, you can always fall back and you don't worry about falling off the cliff, right? Because you're always falling back to your previous foundation that you have built solid. So I digress a little, but it's important information. It's a foundation of what we're doing here, right? If you want financial success, well, this is absolutely it's crucial, right? It's crucial information that you have to be honest with yourself. Because some of you are at the stock market hoping to strike it rich. That's not going to help you. It's going to make it worse for you if you don't set your foundations right. So as I was saying, to some of you, one point is not enough, right? There is this psychological, this greed, this psychological pit hole that's festering in you, that's eating you up, that's causing you to be blind to profit. To me, this is amazing profits to me, right? Because I'm able to extract it. It's enough to feed my family for a week or even more. But to some of you, or even many of you, because you have not set your hearts right, because you have not set your lifestyle right, you either despise this or you fail to extract it because you're expecting more, or even worse, even if you made 5 figures, for example, it's not enough to cover what you're in debt or your losses, and it's just not enough. And you realize that you are already enslaved even before you made your first trade. So this is crucial. Understanding that there is profits in the chart. Every part of this chart is an opportunity to find profits. Here, 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 here. I will show you later. Almost everywhere. So you have to, Learn to find profits in the charts. I repeat that every single day. But if you cannot embody it in your life, and because many of you are baggaged in your life, you have to acknowledge that and fix it. The solution, as I have already told you, keep your life simple. When you cut off what's not necessary to you, right? When you keep it simple, your life choices are expanded. You have so many options. You have so many choices you can make. And I tell you, that sort of freedom, even if you're relatively poor, that sort of freedom is priceless. I'm no billionaire. I don't even have. I don't have 100 million. I don't need it. I don't need a yacht. I don't need a lifestyle that's. Well, you see how the billionaires live. I don't envy that. I feel for them. I feel that they are living a more miserable life than I am. That sort of contentment that you need in your life, right? And, it comes to a point, as I told you, I come to a point where, let's see, making about 20 a month, 20,000 a month. It's enough to feed my family and my children for the next generation because I plan it well. Next generation, mind you. If it's just my wife and myself. Now, I've been married for a long time too. When it was just my wife and I. Now, obviously, this was maybe quite some time ago, but we survived on just $2,000 a month. Both of us. Including mortgage. Including food, because I was making all the food myself with my wife. We took turns to cook. We saved on everything. Now, granted, this was a long time ago, right? In today's value, I would say it's about 3 to 3.5. Well, not really, because the real estate now it's a little bonkers. I would say maybe 4,000 today. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. We could live happily. I had everything I needed. That's what I want from you, right? To live in that life of contentment. And it starts from that, and that's the secret of you finding success here in the charts, when you can identify profits. I will cover in the course next week. It starts next week, right? We have a course next week. I will tell you why SPY and the characteristics of SPY, some of the unique characteristics of trading SPY and how we take advantage of that, and the practical reasons why, the rationals why. So you have to pay attention to that. I'm starting the course next week for members only. So you understand why SPY, how unique it is, and how reliable it is, because you notice we've been doing this every single day, and there is this certain reliability to this. We are exploiting that reliability. Understand that. Right, so back to this. I was talking about ranges right at the start of the stream, yeah? Now, this is just 1 point. Now, 1 point is all I need. It's all I need. Because if you're trading options, you are using leverage. Now, if you want to be rich, all right, or making enough money, you have to learn how to be using leverage. And this is something that most people don't teach you. They don't teach you how to properly use it. Some teaches you how to do this recklessly. So you have to understand leverage is there. Yes, you can use it. You have the power to use it. Now, this is a very powerful weapon. Very, very powerful weapon. Are you skilled enough as a practitioner of this weapon to use it to your advantage? or are you shooting at yourself? So understand that. Don't be reckless, right? And basically, you're learning how to use this. That's why you're trading 0-day to expiry options, isn't it? That's one strategy. That's why you're writing options. Now, some of you write options without leverage. It's all right. It's a good practice, but you generally don't make very promising returns than buying and holding, right? So buying and holding is still preferred, especially if you're a conservative trader or a conservative investor. But otherwise, it's about properly learning and understanding what leverage is and how to use it, and what sort of risks you have to learn to manage it. So if you can understand how to be managing the risks of leverage that's given to you, trust me, you'll do very well. So this 1 point here, with proper leverage, can be a 100-point trade. For SPY, mind you, not SPX. And you have to understand that 1 to 100 leverage. A very dangerous weapon, yeah. 1 to 100 is extremely dangerous. But if you know what you're doing, right, that is a weapon right in front of your eyes that you can use. So I don't despise 1-point trades. Absolutely not. Because this is good enough. You have seen me do this every day. It's my bread and butter. Right? And to some of you, it's already your bread and butter. Right? Making good money like that. So now, let's talk a little bit about a trade that I took here. Let's see. So I just shared this right here. Okay, this is a trade that I took, 1108. Right, mostly calls here because, firstly, let's take a look at Friday's action here. Nothing surprising, isn't it? I mean, I've been telling you, we've already identified this orange. It's a buying continuation, right? So, mostly calls. It's straightforward. When do you short this? So my question to you is, when do you short this? You short this when it breaks out of that orange minimally. And I would actually reconsider. I would short this only when we broke that blue here. Right? This is very beautiful liquidity here. So there's absolutely no reason to short this. I mean, if you want to, you can take zombie trades. You got to know what you're doing, right? So this is a possible trade. You could short this. Absolutely you can. All right, and I probably would if it's not a Friday, I probably would try to short this. Right, as I mentioned, Friday you trade more conservatively. My strategy, I withdraw all my profits. I probably leave less than $5,000 just to trade for the day. So anyway, right, I almost doubled this, right? Almost doubled and almost doubled my account here. So I did it twice. I think I doubled my account. Just from 1 hour, about 40 minutes of trade. So you notice there is, let's take a look at 1108. Where's 1108 here? 1108 is the break of this teal, right? So you identified the teal. We already did that. You saw the teal come to action. It's quite straightforward. You see, magenta has always been very strong support here, right? We charted the magenta. So this was support, turn resistance, back to support. So this is important because a prior resistance turned to support. It means that the bulls are defending this range. So take a look here. Now, for those who are trying to short this after all these candles, you have to understand first, this candles, where does this red candles come from? It started dumping from 1037. Now, if we take a look at the 30-minute chart, 1037, right, will be where, here, when we broke, we truly charted it properly here, right? It's where we broke that green algorithm, and it's at the top of that orange. So yes, there is a possible zombie here because we are likewise here at the green here building liquidity necessary. So if this is the first retest of this particular resistance level here, I would probably take a small zombie trade if I could. Once again, it's a Friday. I'm not intending to take such risks, because why make it difficult for yourself on the last day of the trading week? So yes, you could most definitely short here for a zombie, because break of green, right? And break of orange. Yeah, possible to short. Absolutely. And we had the magenta here as well as a possible resistance. And you see the rejection. Or there, you have very clear stop loss target there as well. Right. So understanding that, you are able to take the trade. Quite straightforward, yeah? Now, when you're taking a trade, it's about understanding the number of confirmations you have and understanding your risk to rewards. In this case, your risk to rewards can be very, very tight because your resistances are there. It's tight. Right? So yes, you could have taken a trade here, absolutely. But understand that this is a zombie. Your main liquidity is here at the magenta. So no, it doesn't go past magenta. Some of you tried to short here. Now, you already saw the green selling prior to this. The strong seller is in that green precision algorithm. That, mind you, didn't fully materialize. So if this wants to sell down hard, right? So this green here, you see, that's a beautiful short if you want to take that. A beautiful zombie trade. You had confirmation from the tapering, right? From the weakening of that green to that orange, a clear resistance tapering from that magenta, clear precision algorithm, that green. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, I think 12 episodes of training videos. I talk a lot about all these. So do watch the training videos. Link in the description. So most of the resources link in description. Please check it out later. But otherwise, there's a course that's coming next week for members on top of the training videos. That's what I want to do. So understand that. And yeah, you got this. This is a beautiful trade up to the magenta. You protected it. And you notice it didn't break the magenta in the precision. So when will I short this? Right? I would short this when it breaks further down and maybe a breakout and retrace here. Now, you just need one candle, right? And this short here, I know this one didn't materialize, but it moved 1 point, right? Within this candle, I would have protected it, and this trade will never turn red. Never. Because I've learned to break it out. Learned to sell everything once it's no longer in the precision algorithm. So those of you who wanted to short this here, just because you got excited by this red candles, you have not trained your eyes to see the algorithms. You are just looking at the candles, and you allow the candles to make decisions for you instead of looking at the algorithms. So understand that if this is a breakout and retrace continuing in the green, that's great. You get a great trade there, especially when you have confirmation from that prior support turn into resistance as well. Now, how would have this been a beautiful short? If the sellers are intent on selling this, right? What's going to happen is it's going to sell like that, build liquidity here, and then reject off that teal and retake this on the way down green. Now, I want you to visualize this and understand. If this happens, you know, oh, this is a confirmation, plenty of confirmation to short here because you see the sellers take back control with magenta, grabbing the liquidity here. They were just building liquidity to start pushing down. Now, there's a lot of technicalities in this. So if you are still not aware of the technicalities here, obviously, stay tuned for the trading videos coming next week. I mean, the course that I'm running next week for members. So, yeah, all these technicalities I would be talking to you, explaining, especially regarding liquidity. Many of you don't understand the liquidity as well. All right, so now at this point, you will see where my trade is. We broke out of that teal because you already saw teal build liquidity here, isn't it? You know, this is the bullish liquidity. There is this green algorithm that's supporting it. And then we started slightly tapering in that orange. My trade was 11.08 on the break of that. 11.08, yeah. 11.08, that's right. So I took on the break. I think it was just slightly off the break here. Right, the next candle after the break. That's all I need. I took my profits here. I'm done. Took my profits there. I protected it almost immediately. Right, I protected it in 5 minutes. No, it's not almost immediately. Allowed it to move a little. It never went against me because it was buying up. Right, so pretty good trade here. Very simple trade. Right, thereafter you notice I didn't chase anything more. Right, 16. So I allowed it to head down a little bit more, closed all my trades, and you see that at the end it was just teal building liquidity again. I didn't chart this, but it was quite obvious. And once again, I caught the breakup. One more trade here, and just closed it within 7 minutes. Said, let's call it a day. Now, to be honest, I think I was hoping for a little bit deeper here. Right, but it broke out, that's fine. There was right, so, you saw the algorithms coming into play, so you could have taken a trade anyway. Right, so sometimes, yes, you take a chances. If you are not too clear, just lower your contracts. I had very, very few contracts for this. I think half of my size, of my usual trading size. There you go. 2 trades, quite simple. Right, because you understood that teal is just building liquidity. We've not broken out of magenta. Right, so you know that there is a green seller here. If it's not appearing, why are you selling it? Right, even the selling, it's not in green. The green seller is just not interested. It's not selling. They will appear, yes, because I want you to imagine this, right? Because if this is a key support, there will be sellers that are lurking right under this. So if it wants to trigger, yes, it can trigger. It's possible. Can you afford to wait? Yeah, you know the key support is there. Wait till it retests the support and you will know the sellers are trying to build strength to start selling this. So you see, it's all about setting alerts, not overly anticipating. So you realize, some of you're anticipating your setup, not preparing for it. I am preparing for it, right? I have playbooks everywhere. And I'm ready when a certain play plays out, compared to people who are overly anticipating. And you are anticipating it, and you are preempting it, and you're taking it early, you're shorting here, right? Hoping this happens, you're hope trading. How can trading be like that? It's not rational. It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, understand this. All right. And back to 30 minutes, I always tell you to pay close attention. Absolutely no reason to short this. We're still in the buying continuation. Pretty strong. If you wanted to short this, if you wanted to short this, maybe. If we retested this blue, maybe. All right, maybe. But I would very much prefer this. So I would totally not pull the trigger to short this until at least 5-day moving average, or even this blue algorithm right here. You see this liquidity, right? Well, the liquidity is still live here, especially if we are tapering early. I'll talk about that later. But yet you see we're closing cups, isn't it? That's why we have some tapering here, because this could be a beautiful zombie right into Friday, with the 5-day catching up and building liquidity on the way up. Still possible. 700 is so close. Remember I talked about 700? So close. Upper ball is at 696, still a little distance away, but it's slowly trending up now to get your 5-day moving average. We'll see how it goes. We'll talk about that later. So let's talk about that trade again, where it almost doubled, almost 100%. Yeah, 1 point trade. Is it 1 point? Oh, it's not even 1 point. Wow, it's half a point. My goodness. There you go. You don't need 1 point. Half a point's good enough. How about this? How about this one? Let's see. Probably about 0.7 points. There you have it. Well, real trades for you to take reference from. So it's easy for me to explain it in theory, but I do trade every day, so you get to see how it's practiced out. So you are able to see it for yourself and tune your mind, right? Because these are not just the trades are not isolated, right? You have to understand the trades that I take. A trade that I take, it's not isolated. It's deeply rooted on certain values and fundamentals that I have. So when you're able to firstly embody the values, the understanding, the fundamentals, then the trades make sense. Then you're able to see how the trades can lead you to a certain, a vision, right? So you can, develop your own edge from the trades and the fundamentals into the vision that you want to see. So I've shown you time and time again, small trades like that is easy to make good money, and the good money can be used to supplement your life or frugality, so that you become more purposeful. There's certain secrets that people don't teach you because they have not lived out their lives with that. Right, so trading is not one-dimensional. It has to be deeply rooted on something for you to build your edge, and most of it's a translation of your life. So this is you making instantaneous decisions. You understand that this is instinctive, and so if you are a greedy person, you're going to make greedy decisions, right? If you're a person that's secure, that's clear, that has a very sharpened mind with a clear objective and purpose, you're going to make good decisions instantaneously. You realize that. So develop yourself, and you're going to make good money if you set your fundamentals right. But otherwise, this is a very dangerous place, right? I liken this to the ocean. If you have no idea what you're doing and you enter into the deep ocean, you are not going to survive, not even for a second, right? And understand how dangerous this is, right? This truly is dangerous, and many of us attempt this without proper training. It worries me because the world has allowed this place, the stock market, to become an entertainment venue for gambling. Dangerous, isn't it? When it becomes entertainment, it becomes a venue for you to make rash decisions because it entertains you. It feeds your carnal desires. That's dangerous. Anything that feeds your carnal desires, anything that attempts to bypass your thinking mind is dangerous, right? Most vices are like that, right? Most vices are designed to bypass you thinking. They don't want you to think. If that happens, you have to be very, very on guard. So clarity of mind, purity of heart, you will find success in life, not just in trading, but in everywhere in life. So continue to stay on guard, right? Be at your best in every area of your life, so you can always protect yourself. And our job too is not just to protect ourselves; we protect each other, your brother and sister keepers of your own family, of the people close to you, or even in the same community. Like, your job is to protect each other. My job is to protect you. So we are all shepherds in some way or another, right? When you do that, you protect yourself as well. Dangerous place, yeah. All right, so as we start the year, these are very important messages as we start the year, because it doesn't matter. You can catch a 10-point trade today. Trust me on this, because how many people that made loads of money here, right? We had I think for once we had a 50-point day for SPY. This was a 50-point day, I think. Crazy day. So many people made so much money on that day. Trust me, more than half of them has probably lost it over this period of time because they got it too easy. Not rooted on strong fundamentals, right? They probably gambled and pissed it all away already. It's not rooted on fundamentals. It's not rooted on the lifestyle that guards your mind and your heart and your values and your purpose. They don't have mechanisms in place to protect what they have earned. Because what you earn today, if you don't have mechanisms in place, you are going to piss it away. That's just how it works. You don't keep track of how much you're spending. You're going to piss it all away. You don't have a lifestyle that's fixed, and you're constantly trying to seek gratification everywhere. You're going to piss it all away. So, figure that out, please. Right, before you start making trades, you are going to make a lot of money if you figure that out. It doesn't matter you start small, that's absolutely fine. I started small. I mean, I started with the job. I started with nothing. Little by little, step by step, you will get there. And it's exponential, right? It's exponential. It got to a certain point, I think about 80 to 100,000. It starts growing very quickly, right? If you keep your fundamentals strong. Because the truth is, the more you make, say I spend 2,000 a month, right? If I spend 2,000 a month, if I make 20K, right, that's 10%. But if I make 100K, that 2,000 is only 5%. You notice that? No, it's 2%, I'm sorry. It's 2%. So you notice, if you keep your expenses low, the more money you make is actually a smaller percentage of what you actually spend. And that's why it grows exponentially. So understand that. And when you understand output, input, you will realize that, yes, you'll come to a point. There's a certain critical mass here. There's a critical point here. That if you make it enough, for me it was about 100,000, and the investments just be able to roll. You qualify for some ways to increase your leverage. And if you understand your leverage carefully, this 100,000 is actually $1 million in funds, and you can grow it even further because I keep my expenses to 2,000, but I have $1 million in leverage. So this is why people buy real estate, right? Because real estate is also a way to leverage your funds. The house can be $1 million, but you don't need to take out $1 million in cash to buy it. You understand, that's leverage already. That's already leverage. So, say I buy a house for $1 million, right? I put in $100,000, 10%, just for calculation's sake, right? And it increases to maybe 1.5 million, appreciates over time. So you notice you're taking $100,000 to make $500,000 in profit. That's 500%. That's 5x. Sorry, it's a little laggy, right? Anyway, you get the point. It's 500%. So this is 50%. If you put in $1 million cash and you get out 1.5 million, that's a 50% gain. But because of leverage, you're only putting in this as your initial payment, and you mortgage the rest. You made 500,000 profits. Obviously, you have to minus off your interest, right? Your fees. If we're doing fixer upper, yeah, you have to take out some of your renovation costs. But the point is that this is leverage. Look, it's a 10x leverage, all because you understood how to be using the leverage. So what I'm trying to say is, it will come to a point in your life, and for me it was about 100,000, that I qualified for more leverage, and you could build your wealth that way by keeping your output low. My output then with my wife was still about 2,000 to 3,000, maybe slightly inflated, got a nicer car. You get the point. All right. Get that right, start of the year, right? So, and you're going to do very well. You're going to do very well. Now, let's go to next. So some training, yeah, you get the point. Today's training is a little bit more on psychology. Understanding your fundamentals, right? And figuring out the purpose of your trades. Before you take your next trade, you figure all that out. I will guide you in the course as well, so there will be more guidance in the course that starts next week. And you will have more clarity then. Let's prep you for the week. But give me 5 minutes. Let me take a short break. And in the meantime, don't forget to check out Q&A here. Right? I will cover not all questions. I will try my best. We still have time. So give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes break for me. So I can go and take a... Yeah, that's right. See you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. Now, debt is destructive. Yeah. So the next time you want to incur debt, consider the destructive nature of it. What I mentioned, right? If you're in the middle class, you are empowered to take debt to fulfill things that you don't need. Just keep you in the middle class. Middle class is just a nicer word for poor, right? You're poor if you're middle class. Sorry, this is just the truth, and you have to hear it. Middle class is just a nicer way to tell you that you're poor. Don't be poor. Time to get out of it, yeah? So let's get to it. All right. Let's prep for the week. We have it, yeah. Let's prep for the week. Right, we're an hour in. Thank you very much for watching, for taking the time on the Sunday. I'll probably end this in another half an hour. Right, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but yet appreciate you for being here. And to me, I want to honor your time, so you wouldn't hear fluff from me. Right? If it's meant for you to understand, you have to hear it, and it will help you. I hope it helps you. That's why we need to stick together and learn from each other, encourage each other. Practical steps to do that. Cut off debt, please. Some of you may be difficult, right? Because you probably took up some debt for someone else, for your family, or even for your education, right? We have been fooled by the institutions one way or another. But you get wiser, you figure things out, and you have to overcome it. Little by little, it is possible. In today's world, it is absolutely possible because we have access to so much that can make us wealthier than we would have been if it's 10, 20 years ago. So this access will help you. In the same way, it will destroy you. Right, the same way you have access to vices that, like what I mentioned, bypass your thinking faculties. Just straight to your carnal desires. It's meant to destroy you. So it's the same access that if you use it wisely, you're going to make it well. So let's overcome together, right? So this is a brand new year. You have to overcome it. Know that you're not alone. People are struggling, trying to overcome, just like you. And if you have overcome, this is a good reminder. You're always reminded, right? You never forget your roots. You're always reminded how destructive the certain things are if you let your guard down. So never let your guard down. Be reminded by people like me, people around you. And so you always stay true to your purpose. You don't let your guard down. It's easy, right? When you don't have strong values and you're empowered with resources, you're going to abuse it. Sorry, that's the truth too. Right? That's why you have so many people cheating and infidelity, because you're given resources and you start to take things for granted. But if you have strong fundamentals, you have strong values, you cherish what you have every single day because you remember your roots, you remember how you started, you remember the day that you fell in love, you remember the exhilaration of all the voyages and journeys you took with your partner. You're never going to go wrong because every single day you relive it. Every single day you're grateful. It comes with loss, right? And as I mentioned, right, most of us are comfortable in the middle. The middle class. Middle class keeps you poor because you buy things you don't need. You have that comfort. All the comfort here, all the creature comforts here, that you never truly test your resolve. Your resolve is tested when you have nothing, right? Your values are shaped and forged when you have nothing. So I implore some of you to get to the bottom. Put yourself in that discomfort, so you will truly forge yourself into someone of good character. Sometimes it means losing it all, truly. And this is why some tragedies, as sad as they are, sometimes have a silver lining. I challenge you, yes. And to my Christian brothers and sisters, sometimes it's a difficult prayer that you ask God to truly take it all away. What a difficult prayer. But if you have the faith to do that, and you trust God to lead you through, it could even be the best thing that happened in your life. My pain was through a little story time, yeah? My pain was through, obviously, my childhood, but I also experienced some tragic pain in my young adulthood. I'm not sure I want to share this platform. Maybe in the Trading Fellowship channel. Yeah, I'll leave it to then. But yeah, there are several episodes in my life that I experience that sort of tragedy that really strips you of everything. And I will share them in detail in another live stream in the Trading Fellowship. But when I look back, I realized that when I was a child, when I was 11 years old, I said the prayer of Jabez. I said this prayer, and if you know this prayer, it makes sense, the pain that I experienced much later in my life. And I look back and I'm like, this is why. And it turned out really, really well after. So be careful what you pray. And if you have the faith to carry through it. So, yeah. All right. Okay. Enough for the heavy stuff. Let's just do some prep and we'll start chatting, yeah? I love to chat with you on Sunday because this is a place where I can tell you things you don't know. Like, for example, what is my first Ferrari? Yes, you're interested in that, although I'm telling you not to spend beyond your means. But it's something you want to know, right? Yep. Later, after this, let's get to serious business. Now, nothing's changed, right? Let's zoom out a little bit more, understand where we got to here, right? This green, important. Understand this was when we cut through that 5-day moving average. We had that beautiful inverse head and shoulder pattern, especially reclaiming the 20-day and reclaiming the 5-day. So this became very clear to you that there is a buying continuation. We want the buying continuation here, right? We saw that happening and we saw the retracement back. So there was a certain retracement here. Why? Because you saw that the blue was building liquidity. So this was beautiful, right? This was a beautiful zombie trade. Why? Once again, I mentioned, if you see blue, it's the market trying to have a certain pullback. You see, we stopped at the blue again. We identified it to the penny. It's building liquidity here. Now again, we see a certain break of that green. So you see, once it broke out of the green, it was strong in that green buying continuation. So there is buying intent. But we started tapering slightly in the orange. Also because of context, it was a Friday as we closed the week. So the bulls may want to take a little bit before it starts, if it wants to, next week as well. So, what to prepare for? First things first, buying continuation structure here. 5-day will start catching up as well. So if you want to short this, you just have to be careful. You wait for the buying continuation to start losing steam with tapering. So quite straightforward, I will not short this until we retest that blue. Here, this is your liquidity. Look, there's beautiful liquidity here. There are sell orders here. Definitely there. Right, so if it wants to retest and sell, it will trigger the sell orders, and this may come down here. Precision algorithm as well. Who's been selling? Who's the strongest seller right now? We see maybe here, green. So wait for green, right? So do not short until we at least break this blue algorithm here. By then, your 5-day will already turn into some sort of resistance. You will have some clear structure to see that the sellers are in control. Otherwise, wait for 20-day moving average cup to close. By then, your 5-day will already turn into resistance. You will see this liquidity taking place. You may see the possibilities of the selling precision algorithm appearing. So you see the selling intent. You wait for the cups to close at 20-day moving average. Another clear structure before it starts heading down. You got it. Yep. So now, at this point, just be careful If it's not buying up strong, if it's right like this, just grinding up here, this is something you want to avoid. Yeah, so don't take trades there if you don't see any strong move right here. Just be more careful. Right, grind up like that is very dangerous. So just be careful, especially if the volume is much lower. So if it's grinding up, not ideal for day trading. But in the course, I will teach you how to be taking advantage of grind ups, and a big part of that is managing a portfolio and writing options in order to earn income, even if it's grinding up. Grind ups are great. It's fantastic for you to make income. So you notice I'm not too desperate to take trades because you have options. I have options of selling and writing. So I don't worry. I'm in a way lending out my assets for someone else to buy options with my collateral. So I'm writing it out and I'm earning premiums while it's grinding up. Fantastic. So you notice I'm not too desperate to take day trades. So this is what I mean. If you have substitutes, right? You have alternatives. And this, I talked about this in the last live stream. You cannot eradicate, right? For sure, greed will be with you. But you do not eradicate greed. You substitute it. So how do I substitute it? If I have another mean to make money. So in this case, I'm not too greedy to day trade, take too much risks, because I have another means to make money. Right? In this case, I'm writing options. So if it's grinding up, the obvious choice is not to day trade. No, I will just allow my written options to earn premiums for me. So you notice you have options, as in you have a choice, you have alternatives, and so your mind is more clear. You are able to substitute your recklessness of your greed because you are able to do it in another way. You're benefiting in another way. So as you get richer, as you get wealthier, as you get sharper, this is what I mean when you have developed choices in your life, right? And choices in your life only comes when you have very little debt and very little expenditure. When you have choices in your life, you will get better. Your growth will be exponential. And this is just one example of it. Okay, you understand that. Now, if you're just confined to day trading, and some of you are, that's fine, right? Because you have small accounts. Fair enough. Learn what you can as much as possible, knowing that this is not the end game. You're not going to get rich doing this. You can make good money doing this, but you're not getting rich doing this. There is a difference. So when you understand the hierarchy of how to get to where you're supposed to be, you will put less importance in being reckless. And you know that there is a guided way to get there. You will trust the system a little bit more, and you will not make reckless decisions. All right. Okay. Now, 30-minute chart. Understand? It could be a cup sets closing here, so we have some sellers here. The market is kind. Obviously, we build more liquidity here, right? And we start grabbing more liquidity off the 5-day moving average as well. Now, buying. You notice was buying, right? We have green. We have green and we have orange. Orange has been quite reliable, although slow, right? You notice orange has been pretty reliable, although it's a little slow. But you have green within the orange, right? So if it's buying up in green, it will be best at least to the 700 level. I'm still looking at that as a target, but I'm waiting for the upper Bollinger to at least get to the 700 level. Not there yet, almost, right? So the upper Bollinger is a good target, right? So always pay close attention to that. But otherwise, right, wait out for that. If I were to use the orange to chart the possibility to 700, I will be within the week, right? So if it wants to continue up, yes, absolutely, it's possible. But just be mindful, right? If we need more liquidity, we can retrace. And obviously, there is liquidity here. Now, understand that, take a look at the Bollingers, right? I'm an institution. I'm hedged between this. No problem. It's not going to hurt me if it gets to bottom Bollinger. It's not going to hurt me if it gets to the top at the upper Bollinger. So understand that as an institution, this is the range that I've already been covered. So if I really wanted to, right, to kill those without solvency, especially retail traders, I can dump it down and still go back up. This is actually acceptable for me as an institution. So you just have to be careful. And this is why I always say level by level, algorithm by algorithm. And so if it heads down here, I'm not going to say that the bull market is over. I'm just taking it as the profits from here until we retest the 20-day, until we retest the 5-day, until we retest the bottom Bollinger, which is probably about here now. Am I right? Yep, 674. It's about here. Yeah, it's still in the blue band, right? And remember, as I mentioned about the blue band here, it's still there. It's still within this blue band here. So there's nothing to panic, right? It's pretty much in the bull market as long as we stay within this range where the liquidity is here, right? So big money can tank it down here before it starts heading up. Absolutely fine, because it's still within the limits here. They're well hedged between this range. So when you understand that, you know you're dealing with the big boys. You cannot win them. You don't have the solvency to hedge yourself 20 points, do you? Some of you are able to, but you realize that if you do that, it's a cost of doing business. Hedging is a cost, right? If you're running a business, you have profits and you have cost, your expenses. Same thing with trading. If you're managing a portfolio, you need to have certain cost of doing business. In this case, your cost may be hedging. But the big money does it well, you know. They are able to hedge, but use the hedge to make money as well. So they're never losing. No, they're never losing. There are multiple ways of making income because of the derivatives of the instruments, right? It gets complicated. So one particular ticker like SPY, you know, I'm able to break it down into multiple derivatives, making money in every layer of the way. And it gets even more complicated because, well, obviously now you have multiple days of expiry. So I'm making money every single day with the difference, arbitraging with each day's difference. So plenty of ways for the quants to make money. Absolutely slaughtering everyone. Right, so you as a retail trader, you know that you can't fight them, right? So don't be that type that's trying to call for a move, right? When you call for a move, you can be right, but you're still going to lose money because you just don't have the skill to fight them, right? So remember, the hedge like that, how are you going to fight them if they're hedged 20 points? Absolutely no way you can make money if you're just calling, right, and expecting the market to move in one direction. Okay, now. That aside, you understand this week's purpose, right? You understand the ranges. The ranges are quite clear. I have it at 700, right? I have it at this blue band if it truly wants to dump. But I don't think so, unless there's truly terrible news. Yeah, there's a very clear liquidity here if it wants to head down, right? Your 5-day, obviously, your 20-day, right? There is a cup that can close and 20-day turn into resistance if it wants to head down here. So pay close attention to this particular level, right? But otherwise, pay close attention to your buying continuation currently. You want to see green taking more effort to be activated if it wants to squeeze. Market don't have great news to squeeze this right now, right? So, we've probably extracted as much value from all the news that's put out currently, right? So unless they do something crazy, like reducing your interest rates, if I'm not wrong, they are pricing in 3 cuts this year, right? So if there are news of more or even injecting money into the economy, yeah, sure, we will have a squeeze. But I feel that this is the reason why you see the buying has been in orange instead of green, right? So we lack that catalyst to bring us out to another range. We shall see. So take it easy a little bit, especially if you're trying to short this. You know exactly where to wait out for, and obviously your precision algorithms as well. So stop losing money trying to be reckless. As I mentioned, just 1 point you can make very good money, right? To me, half a point even, right? This was a half a point trade. It's good enough to make money. So understand what you're trying to do. Feed your family. That's what you're trying to do, right? So some of you trying to catch that 20-point trade. It's you're better off. You're better off buying a lottery ticket. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's see where we at. Right. Let's do some Q&A, and then we'll call it a day. So thank you once again for just checking in. Let me start from where we started here. Right. Let's see. Okay, I'll cover as much as I can. If I don't see that's appropriate to answer in detail, I will just tell you. All right. So thank you for your understanding as well. I appreciate every question. I do. And the point that we are putting it in a thread here is so that everything is compiled, right? Nothing gets missed out. So even if I do not answer them today now, it's recorded. It will be passed through an AI to compile these questions better for me to answer them in another video, perhaps. Right. Like what I said, you should always scale according to your risk. Right. So for me, 4 to 5% of your account size that you're using to day trade, try to keep it within there. Don't overexpose yourself. If you're trading small accounts, I understand this can be difficult. Right, so this is why if you're trading small accounts, you understand that 4 to 5% risks is your stop loss, and not your entire account size, right? So even if you're taking, say you have $2,000 in your account, right? Say you're using $2,000 to trade, but you have to keep your risk or your stop loss as low as 4 to 5. If you're using a small account, I would allow you up to 10 to 20% of your stop loss. But this is dangerous, right? Anything more than double digits of your risks, it takes. You have to understand your losses. Right? Say you have $1,000, right? If you lose, say if you make 10%. Now, if you lose 10%, for example, you lose $100, it becomes $900. But from 900 to 1,000, it's not 10% increase, it's 11%. So you realize making money is a lot harder than losing money. You have to make back more than you lose. So try to keep your stop loss in as little as possible, because you scale yourself up. You scale yourself out of the game. So if you have a small account, $2,000, what's going to happen is if you lose half of it, right? If you let 50% be your stop loss, you're going to lose half of it. What's going to happen? You need to double your account in order to make it back. So keep this low. So scaling, the secret of scaling is understand your risks. Doesn't matter how much, right? It's your risk. Your risk is the common denominator. Okay. I will answer this another day, but well, obviously there's worries of espionage, isn't it? Someone can just come in, claim to be my partner, and just steal everything from me, right? So I've dealt with wolves. I've dealt with the hardest criminals in the financial world. I'm smarter than this, right? So I thank you, right? All you guys are partners with me. Shareholders, technically speaking, shareholders, right? There are certain things I just have to build first, and obviously I get your input. But give me space and time. Let me build it up first, right? We will have your inputs in time. right? Yeah, I mean, I have members here who have been with me 5-6 years since the start. They trust what I'm doing, so I hope I get your trust too. Especially if you're here for only a couple of months and you want to see everything. Right. Once again, 4 to 5% you allow your trades to breathe, scale down. To allow your trades to breathe, you have to breathe. Yeah? So in order for you to breathe, you must not be spending too much money that you cannot afford to lose. You understand that, yeah? So if it's money that you can afford to lose, you will allow the trade to breathe. You're not worrying about the pennies, because if every single candle move is going to determine your life and death, you're not going to make good financial decisions on the trading floor, right? So you have to allow your trades to breathe by, more importantly, scaling down. When you scale down, you allow them to breathe. Now, how do you allow your trades to breathe? You base on structure. I will teach this in the course, obviously. So if I were to take a trade here, knowing it broke out of that teal, right, there are two stops that I want to have. The first is the buying that's breaking out of the teal. So I allow it to breathe up to the break of orange. And the other will be the break of teal. Break of teal is not ideal because it's a trending down line, so you're always catching up. I covered all these in training videos, so please watch the training videos if you have not. But the point is you base it on structure. Now, if you can't get a good fill, then don't enter the trade because you are going to put yourself in a very compromising position. So say orange is your stop loss, right? So this is a stop. Your supports here, you're orange and you're taking a call. Do you take a call here? Absolutely not, right? Because you know this is the resistance and you're so far away from your stop loss and the support here. So you get stopped even before you have a chance to see if it works. Unless you see a stronger green breaking out here, right? And you see this happening. Maybe I'll take calls here because I see the green becoming my guide for the precision algorithms instead of the orange. So you're looking at orange as a support now and not a resistance. And it's guided by the green. So now you have a new support in that green precision algorithm. So allowing to breathe using structure, not entering trades when you're in the middle of nowhere, right? No man's land. The concept of no man's land came from World War I, I think. So you understand the World War I idea of no man's land. You will have more reverence and respect to not take a trade in no man's land. Okay? Read up a little bit so you understand that. Okay. Yeah, thanks for checking in. Even if you are not able to watch live stream, VOD available. You can watch it later for sure. Ooh, heavy question. Let's see. Believe it or not, I was trained as a pastor. Shocking. Yeah, I went to. I have theological education as well. But God sent me to the marketplace, and well, here I am. So this is that's also why you see that I'm not unfamiliar with some of the pastoral duties that you see me do. The first live stream, if you prayed with me, right? If you know, you can tell. There's some things you can't hide. There's some things that you can't fake. I'm sure you can tell, right? Some of you who are in ministry as well, I'm sure you can tell. So yeah, very clearly you know the other path that I would have chosen, right? But nothing's changed because no matter what vocation you are in, if you choose to serve, you must know who you are serving, right? And in this case, we are not serving mammon, right? We are serving God. right? Likewise, right? Everything has to be purposeful. What's the point of traveling if it's not purposeful? Why do you travel? Right? Why do you spend time with family? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do I spend so much time on the Discord server? What's your purpose? So figuring out your purpose is very important, right? 5 is too many, and today's answer. I'll just give you one. What started me off? Well, some of you don't even call this metal, but Dream Theater was what started me off. Fantastic composition. They can make. Well, I wouldn't call them. Some of you don't consider them metal, right? But they are able to create that musical composition with metal music. It's amazing, right? So anyway, maybe not your answer, but yeah, this is still my all-time favorite. Yeah, don't worry about that, man. Don't worry, champ. Don't worry about that. Till the day I die, I'll be here, all right? And you'll be invited to my funeral. That's my promise to you. This for another day. I have a story for that. The known story is Netflix. So yeah, that's the known story. I will talk about that next time. No, obviously not. If you watched one of the live stream, you would have caught a glimpse of some of the stocks that I'm watching out for. So I promised members in a private live stream on talking about this. I will tell you what I am anticipating for the next 5 to 10 years. So that in another private members live stream. This live stream is not private, so I'm not going to share more information than that. But yeah, it's varied. It's everywhere. It's a very defensive portfolio. And if you're in your different life stage, I would strongly advise you to go back to the traditional fundamentals of investment, and that is to have bonds and equities. You need to have a good balance, right? Especially if you're retiring. You don't want to be putting too much in stocks. You have to have that certainty in bonds, right? There is certain wisdom in traditional investment. So don't forget your bonds. You have to, right? There's a period of time during the high inflation that they're paying you so much just to lend the government money. So you must have taken advantage of that then, right? It's paying up to 7, 8, 9% even, incredible rates. So you're never going to lose, right? If the market is in high inflation, you are able to capitalize on that. And right now, if we're in a low inflation setting, low interest rate setting, I wouldn't say low inflation, low interest rate setting, then you can learn to maximize your leverage. So you're never losing, right? Because you know how to play the game. So another time for that, I will talk about that, yeah. A 30-minute chart is always giving you just the context, right? When you have the context, you have to turn to the 1-minute confirmation. Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, you can't wait for... you must understand that in 1-minute chart, there will be some sort of noise. Because remember what I talked to you about. It's really difficult for every single one to come with a consensus to a certain price they want to buy. You can't even come to a consensus with a can of Coke, right? In the same area, you can have 3, 4, 5 different shops selling Coke at different prices, even in the same mall. So there will always be some sort of noise in the candles. So learn to see structure with the algorithms. When you understand how to be looking out for the algorithms, you're not paying too close attention to the candles. And that includes the fact that if you miss a trade, so be it, because it's not in the priority of your entry, because you can't see it, because the candles don't reflect that information to you accurately enough, so you don't take a trade. So learn to see it with the algorithms. It will help you so much better. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. Right? If we have a higher calling, you can never escape it. I'm speaking to some of you here. Today, your higher calling maybe is to be a father or mother. You cannot escape it and do your job well. Right? Don't escape it. My parents escaped their duties. They can't escape it because I exist in this world. You realize that, right? So you can run away, but you can never escape. Maybe let me just look through that later. Yeah. Yes. Good question. So you notice this is a new channel, right? I'm trying to organize things, and obviously, new channel here, I protect the main channel, if you know what I'm talking about. So just trying this out, so I protect the old channel. YouTube is just does it better, right? The bandwidth is much stronger. For Vimeo, I'm paying a premium because apparently they don't have a fixed bandwidth. Apparently they have a fixed bandwidth. So I'm paying more every time I live stream, but I'm fine with that. Vimeo has its own. See, it's lagging, right? I can't get this right. I think it's the screen capture. Vimeo has its own usefulness that I'm using for the course. So I will still be using interchangeably Vimeo and YouTube, but I will be organizing them better. So thank you. A little bit confusion, but thank you for tolerating with me, because I'm testing out new capabilities. And you realize right now that I'm able to do this live stream. I'm expanding my capabilities so that we serve the purpose of helping you prosper and find success. And these are just tools that we are using. And I hope to use these tools more often for your success, right? Let's do it. Well, I need some specific examples, right? But because I've shown you some P&L as well previously. So generally speaking, near end of day, to the tune of 20 contracts, it's enough. But at the start of day, near end of day, about 10 contracts is enough to get you there. Because your risk to rewards, your rewards gets very, very elevated near end of day. I'm sorry, that's not end of day. End of day is here. Right, end of day here. At the start of day to noon time, right, I would generally need, as I shown you, if I took something that's about in the money, I would probably need, for every 10 contract, I need it to move 1 point with 1 delta. Right, so you understand this. This is how you get to $10,000. This is how you calculate backwards. Right, so if my delta is 0.5, I need to either move this 2 point or I take 20 contracts. Simple as that. Right, do your math. So if we move 1 point, 0.5 delta, I need 20 contracts. Understand that? You work it backwards, you will be able to figure it out. Right, so generally speaking, I try to keep it within round numbers so I can mentally process it quick enough. Right, but early candles, my suggestion to you is to take profits as soon as you can for early candles. So this is why I may be a little bit more aggressive at the start of the day, just so I can close it quickly and call it a day, and thereafter focus on the analysis for the rest of the day. You notice I've been doing that. Right, so yeah, good question. Poker. No, I haven't been following it, right? When's the last time that I truly watched it? McKean? Amazing win, though. McKean, yeah. Was it McKean? I can't remember his name. That was the last time I watched it, and I followed, man. That was a long time ago, I think. Recently, no, I haven't been watching. No. But yeah, the last time I watched it, McKean. Small account, you have to be more strategic, right? Because you're looking at, let's say you have a $5,000 account. You want to get it to 10K, you need 200%. You notice that problem, right? So you have to understand how to be looking out for trades. And this is why I share my trades with understanding. Sometimes I do 100% trade. You have to understand I'm doing this most of the time performatively. So you understand how to be looking out for 100% trades. 100% trades, you round it up. So let's say you have a $10,000 account, 100% trade, if you put it all in, gets you to $20,000, right? Because it's a 10K profit. So looking out for 100% trades on the charts, that's what I'm trying to show you. And when you can understand this, and I will talk about that more in the course, you will understand why I'm doing certain things and certain strategy, how you link it up together. My daily behavior, you can chain it up and see it for yourself much clearly, right? So understand that too. All right, let's get back to the goodness. Are we going to talk about calculus now? What's next? Inflection point. Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I appreciate you, champ. I appreciate you. But yeah, we will probably have polls in place. I'm sorry, I missed out some questions at the start. You see, that's the thing about Discord, right? It brings you to, not to where you last read. Yep, that's right. Yeah, you can do that, right? All the numbers are there. You can figure it out yourself. Someone shared it. I think it's pinned in one of the channels here, right? Trading or feedback. It's pinned. Yep, thanks. My good man. Thank you very much. I mentioned this last. The economy is always charting ahead, building capabilities. The only time that it's going to crash is black swan events, right? Fraud, major fraud, or an event that reduces capabilities. So in this case, as I mentioned the last time, right? If we, what's the chance that you will crash the market is if there's fraud that's discovered in one of the major companies, or that it removes a bomb drops and it removes communication, removes energy, and just destroys our way of life. Removes a certain core capability, in this case, a connectivity, internet, transport, right? That's why you see COVID when it happened. It crippled transport, and that's why you see the crash happening. So it must cripple a certain capability, financial system, connectivity, internet, for example, transportation, so something that affects the core capability of life, energy. So when that happens, market crashes, or if there's fraud, because fraud creates that uncertainty, right? So very simple if you try to understand that. But otherwise, the market's always building value, building utility, and that's why you see the stock market always goes up, because it's creating value, creating utility. And, well, in this case also, it's deconstructing the existing resources and multiplying it by leverage. So, for example, this was an example I've given, right? So if your lifetime earnings, they projected it to be 1 million, right? They want to extract you to the tune of 5 million. They try to find ways to make you owe $5 million, knowing that your lifetime earnings is 1 million. So you're forever in debt. So this is how they're designed to maximize the stock market, or the value, the shareholder value of the world. So when you understand that, you understand that you are just something that they're willing to harvest, right? Sad, right? I mean, mix the matrix as much as overused by some influencers. But the story of the matrix is basically based on this, right? We as humans, we are being harvested. So yeah, it came from that. Inverse cup must always be flat or a little bit more, right? Because you're understanding it's sellers at this level. Okay, so you don't see me using inverse cup on algorithmic lines. Okay, so it's more of In this case, as I mentioned, you want to see this because you already have very clear support and resistance in that magenta. So you want to see the precision overpowering that support and resistance. All right. Now, before the quants came into the market, a lot of it is instinctive and mathematical. What do I mean? It means that you have very clear metrics. Right? So let's say if I'm able to consistently have 1 to 2, my risk to rewards, right? In the long run, you will make money because you keep it consistent in your metrics, and you're just allowing, right, all your trades to average out to this average. You understand that it's the same thing. It's a reversion to the mean. So a lot of times it's about creating a certain average that you allow your consistency to win. Once in a while you have a big winner. That's how you increase your average. And so that's how we make money in the past, right? We have very consistent metrics. So it's all about consistency back then in the past. And in the past, it was much easier to make money through spreads. Not in today's world, because of high frequency trading right now. We are not the one that is going to benefit from the spreads. So back then in the past, we could do that, right? Because not everyone is able to buy or sell everything. So we have to go through different brokers. We have to go through different layers, and that's why some institutions has preference over another. And that's how we make money, right? Because we have connections. So back then, interpersonal relationships was very important. We had very, very strong relationship with certain partners, and therefore we could get certain things at better price, and we arbitrage. I could buy a certain product from A at a preferential price, right? So I earn the spread, and I sell it to B, who don't have access to A. And most of the time it's international, right? It's global relationships. That's why they don't have access, because they don't even speak the same language. Back then it was so much easier to do things like that. But you need access. So if you don't work in a bank, if you don't work in a financial institution, you don't have access to this. You can't make money like that for the bank. Now imagine this. You don't need to do this anymore. Right? In today's world, you have access to everything in your fingertips. So what you're doing now is at the elite level that I was doing 10, 20 years ago. You realize that today you are the elite of 20 years ago. How privileged is that, right? So know that you're at that level. You have to live up to your name. Now you're an elite, you're a professional, you have to live up to that name and be as good as I was 20 years ago, like qualifying to get into working in the big banks, for example. Are you good enough today? So, yep, do that, yeah. Let's see, next. Yeah, I'll talk about this more in the charts, the training. I'll watch the training videos for a start. Yeah, if you have not, about 12 episodes in the daily brief videos here, right? So it's all here, right? It's all here, right? So check it out. Where am I? Livestream here. I don't know for sure, but I know people who have. They are in the chat, so do reach out to them. I have not used them. I'm designing one right now for us that will do it fairly, because I realize that most of them are, well, allegedly scams. They take your money and run away, or run a pyramid scheme, allegedly. So we're going to do a proper one. Yeah, I think there's value in that. And so I want to do that. I will share more in detail with you. So you brought out a very good point that I want to talk about, right? So this is percentage, and this is absolute, right? So as a trader, if you're smart enough, you learn how to arbitrage percentage and your absolute figures, right? Or in economics is your real and nominal, right? When you know how to arbitrage real, nominal, absolute, and percentage, you will make a lot of money. Now, you hear this first, right? Before I start the course. This is very important when you're writing options. Learning absolute figures and percentage, and learning to arbitrage both of them. This is how you make money. All right. Now, if you're a math major or you're an economics major, this will make sense to you immediately, right? You know what I'm talking about. I'll talk about that more. Yeah. I don't know what glitch is this. Please just let me know a little bit more. I just want you to know that I don't... I'm not the one managing the money. That's why I let Patreon do it, you know. They are the one that manage the money. I have no idea. I mean, I set it up. They are the payment platform. So I don't know what glitch is there. I hope you let me know if it comes desperate. I will help you if there is a need, if it becomes desperate. But otherwise, there's a reason why I don't collect money directly. It's always escrowed somewhere. In this case, it's escrowed to Patreon or WAP. I have someone that manages it in that case. For Patreon, for example, they take about 12 to 15%, you know. If I change it to Stripe, for example, the fees will be, 2%? So you notice I pay a premium because I don't want to manage the payment and the money because it's not my priority. We can make money with trading, right? So I just leave it there, the money, right? And I'm getting an accountant to manage it for me. But if you are like affected by glitches or things, I just want you to know I have nothing to do with it. But I want to help you, so let me know. If it becomes desperate, you need me to intervene. Trust me, Patreon loves you more than they love me, right? Because you're the one that's paying them. I'm the one taking money from them. So they will listen to you more than they listen to me. But if I can do anything, I will do it. But please understand my role in this. And that's, you understand why. When you understand my decisions, like in this case, I pay more for an escrow. You know that I'm trying to protect you, right? So you're protected by Patreon. You're protected by WAP. You're protected by your credit card company. You have many layers of protection. But if I just take money from you directly, with Stripe, with Venmo, with PayPal, what happens is that you have almost zero to no protection. So that's the reason why I'm allowing them to charge exorbitant fees. You know, people do not agree with me. I mean, I have business advisors that tell me, you know, the same people that tells me I should start funnels, I should start streamlining things. I tell them this is not important to me. So you're supposed to be protected. So please reach out to them if you need any help. If there's any confusion or if it becomes desperate, then let me know. Yeah. I'm sorry. Let's just end this quickly in 10 minutes. Yeah. Zombie, yes. Check out training videos. Contract size, I just told you that. Selling options is a big topic. I will talk about that in due time. Yeah. In the course, I will talk about that. Yeah. In detail, probably not today. Yeah. Training video. Training video. Watch it. I know it's many hours, but you will just watch one a day, right? It will get better over time. Yeah. Thanks for checking in, Jim. You notice I don't use VWAP as much because you have to keep your indicators as clean as possible. But yeah, it's a possible trade if you know that 5 days where you're going to cut your losses, then yeah, that's fine. As long as you have a clear stop loss, as long as you see the precision algorithm in play, as long as you see the control algorithms building liquidity, you're good to go. I will start it next weekend, 17, 18. The announcement is here. Announcement is here. So please do read up the announcements as much as you can. Yeah, I will. Not really. There is another term for this. There is another term that's very similar to zombie. Right, I can't remember that. But I use zombie instead, right? Because it sounds cool. Oh, yes, I will. I will be checking emails after this. Sorry, this week I've been plagued with personal tragedy. So sorry, I'm delaying some things because I've spent Monday to Friday just dealing with a personal loss. So thank you for your understanding. Thank you for that. Yeah, all right. Fair enough. It's. I mean, it's not truly a Wall Street saying, but yeah, a trend is your friend. I mean, it rhymes. Yep. Check out the training videos. Precision algorithm is just the strongest buying or selling. The strongest buying or selling that's participating in the market in that day, right? Yep. Right. Thanks for this. Well, everything's a guesstimation, isn't it? You're estimating this because, right? So, yeah, everything's an estimate. Even our lifespan, yeah? You're estimating everything that you have. So, yes, learn to deal with certain uncertainties, right? Learn not to deal with absolutes. Because only the Sith deals with absolutes, which is not a bad thing. Yep, I will. I will touch on this for sure in the course. Right, sorry, I'm going to put stop here, and the next person after the stop, I will stop. Right, okay. Otherwise, I can't catch up in time to this. Yeah, I talked about this in response to Raj earlier about the when you're talking about inverse cups, you have to be a flat line or slightly protruding out, right? Because you're talking about sellers from that level. You don't see me using the algorithmic lines for inverse cupping handles. So I understand that. Okay? Right. Oh, thank you. Thank you, my good man. Yeah, I will show you over time, but it's a good reference for you. Chart along. The way to properly learn this is to chart along. When you chart along, and I will surely be teaching you some basic principles of algorithmic charting, and you chart along, you're just going to get better, right? There are many examples in the group. When they chart along, they become really good at what they're doing. Yeah, that's right. They're good. They're good. Not heavy metal, but yeah. Wherever your stop loss can be minimized. So if your stop loss can be minimized, then you have to take it in no man's land, right? If you have to force a trade, and that's what I mean by forcing a trade. So say I'm taking a call here, right? And this my usual contract's 20. If I have to take a call here, for example, but I'm not in the middle of the wedge, I mean in the middle of the channel, I'm not going to take 20 contracts here for sure. I'm taking maybe 5, right? So you understand, because it's a little far off from the resistance and the support, so you know how to scale down accordingly, right? So generally, that's the idea of this. Yeah, scaling up takes time. Scaling up gets easy when you live frugally. Believe me, don't spend more than you can make, right? And you scale up incrementally better. I will touch on this, yeah. Thanks for sticking around. Liquidity is... I know what you mean about this. I will talk about this, yes. I know what you mean, because sometimes in this case, right, you mistaken this as bearish liquidity, right? But instead it bounces off the support. So the point of this is understanding liquidity is not bearish or bullish. Liquidity is liquidity. It's where orders come in. What makes it bearish or bullish is your precision algorithms. Yeah, makes it better now. So liquidity, yes, it's bearish. This can be bearish. This can be bearish liquidity, right? But you understand that. Will I take calls here? Maybe a zombie. I would. or there is a clearer structure here. But you realize that if I wanted to take calls here, I would take it two ways. One is break off that precision algorithm, or the second is the break off the control algorithm. Right, so there are different ways of taking a trade, a million ways to trade this. Once again, talk about this in the course. Would the middle class returning to poverty create the catalyst to cause the market to drop? Yes, but it will never happen. It will never happen because, it will never happen unless I quote you from what happened in Japan and Germany. Well, check them out after World War II. What happened to them? Right? This is a very good example. They went to nothing and they worked their way up. Even Korea, even South Korea, after the Korean War, they built themselves up. So that's just how it works, right? Because tough times will build strong people. Oh yes, for sure. They will be recorded, right? For people who can't attend it. Meta. Meta is always one of the better stocks here. Right now, you see it now. Right? Okay. This is my... If you missed it, here you go. Right? I bought Amazon at the bottom Bollinger. Take a look. It's beautiful. Right? So you realize Meta, it's... I'll talk about this next time. I think Netflix will be a good buy, but it has to deal with the acquisition for now. So just be more careful, all right, if you are seeing falling knives like that. I talked about that once. You can always wait if you want to, but you see the Bollingers are just contracting like that. Such a great value, I think. But just scale down, all right? Yeah. I bought you at $3. Oh, you can't see it from here, right? Anyway, this is you. I bought it at $3. There you go. I sold it. I covered my cost at about 21. Yeah. Talk about that next time. Hi. Welcome. Yep. Soon I will be adding them. Please deal with Patreon. I don't, as I mentioned earlier on the answer. Please go get it sorted. Let me know how I can help, but you have to sort it. I'm not the one charging the money, right? I set it in place, and then Patreon does the job for me. So please go reach out to them, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I apologize if there's any inconvenience that's caused. I'm equally vexed as you are, right? If things are not done well. So I truly apologize. But please deal with Patreon if you can. Oh yes, of course you can. No daily. No. Crash. It's first week here, right? Take your time. Go read. So much things to talk about here. So I'm not going to answer you yet, because this is a question that shows a little lack of understanding. Take your time, my good man. Take your time, all right? Yeah, I don't know what this glitch is about. Charge twice for the monthly Lifers membership. Well, you have to figure it out. Please let me know, yeah? Thank you. Avoid conflicts with church on Sunday. You mean Sunday streams, right? Yeah. So I have to do some polls, get some information from you. Yeah. I will cover them, right? Don't worry, man. My good man, you just have to be more patient. I know what I'm doing. I read your messages, right? As I mentioned, if I don't read them, I will cover them. It's all here. I don't know why you have to keep repeating. Protect your credibility. That's all I'm trying to tell you. All right? I think you're a good man. Please protect your credibility. I want to preserve it for you as well. All right. Thank you. Daily, nothing's changed, right? Daily 31, 5 if you want to, you're fine. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. I truly appreciate your time. Let me see what have I not covered. Some housekeepings, I will run through them with you, especially a LIFA meeting that I'm expecting this week. So I hope everything is well today. Thank you for checking in. It's a new channel. Everything is going fine. I thank you for that. Start the year strong. Don't forget today's message. Today's message, very clearly, start the year strong. Good values, good fundamentals. Everything will be fine. Yeah. All right. Once again, thank you very much. 2 hours here with me. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. May God honor our time together. And I'll see you opening bell tomorrow. Right. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.